Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography Podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. If you're looking for jewelry that makes an impact on your self-care routine and your style, Empowerography would love to offer you a discount code to one of our exclusive partners, Quartz & Canary Jewelry and Wellness Company. Please use code EMPOWER15 to receive 15% off upon checkout at www.quartzandcanary.com. Quartz & Canary is truly the place where spirituality meets style. Hello there, Brad Walsh here, your host of the Empowerography Podcast. Today my guest is Maria Fudas. She is a certified assertiveness and transformational coach based in Richmond Hill, Ontario. How are you doing today, Maria?
Hi, Brad. Thank you. I'm doing very well. Thank you.
Excellent. How's your day going so far?
So far, so good.
I like that. Thank you so much for agreeing to be part of the Empowerography community and be a guest here on the podcast and share a bit about your story and your journey with us here today. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and thank you for the invite. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. So let's jump right in. So Maria, you come from a long line of intuitive and spiritual healers, and you're also a certified assertiveness and transformational coach. Can you tell us a bit about what a certified assertiveness and transformational coach is and does?
Sure. First, let me just outline that being intuitive really just means I have a deep knowing and I'm connected with my authentic self. Okay. So that's something everybody can kind of get and achieve. And a certified assertiveness. And I want to start with the assertiveness part because I chose assertiveness really as my tool. Because in the process of trying to become the best version of myself, I recognize that, we really need to live in awareness and self-awareness in order to do so. And, really assertiveness is key in order to be able to do so. So that's why, first of all, I chose assertiveness as my tool. And then a transformational coach, as any coach, just to start off with, it differentiates from psychologists because I take someone as they are and I see what is working for them and I, bring them, change whatever isn't working for them and then what is working for them, try to augment it and make them better. Right. So then transformational. So what I do with transformational coach and putting all that together, what really I help others really achieve love and peace from the inside out and to align, to live their life in purpose and with purpose. And I do that by helping them transform. And that word in itself is two words, transform, means to change form, right? Mm-hmm. So that's really what I do. I help them change form and change them from living from the outside, which I call the ego, living from the outside, which is, the bad habits that are formed by and bad habits, but also any limiting beliefs and thoughts that we have and perceptions and taking those and changing them basically and to live more from internal, from your authentic self and connecting with that part of you, which is authentic and real. And that's really love, right?
Yes,
and,
absolutely.
And making people recognize that we are energetic beings. We are such powerful energetic beings, just having a physical experience. And, a lot of people think this is new age spiritual crap, but you know what I mean? And and when you say that, and then I went back and I basically, we'll talk about that a little bit later, but it's not really all that because even Einstein said everything is energy and that's all there is. So if you want to take a scientific look at it, it's true. Mm-hmm. So we are spiritual beings and we're pure love energy is what we are. Right. But our ego self, the outside self, forgets that. And that's why we have so many, we struggle so much. We have so many issues and, we basically, our life doesn't go the way we want it.
Right.
So that's what I do. I help them change from the outside, going more internal in order to align and live their life with purpose, but in purpose with purpose. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my
absolutely.
3 course, and I have developed a 3 course a course. Actually, it's with proven methodology that that my clients that I teach my clients, which I'm working to putting online actually very soon, which will be great. That's exactly what I do. So I found it's three aspects really, what I teach within to my clients. One is assertiveness. Mm-hmm. It's really being assertive, how to communicate effectively, because that's so important, right?
Yes.
How to communicate effectively, how to be assertive, because assertive is not just, a communication process. It's also a way of being, right? Mm-hmm. It's energy. It's the way, confidence. So assertiveness is one of the aspects of my transformational coaching. The second one is spirituality. And that's the part that I was saying is mastering yourself, bringing yourself really back to who you truly are, making you recognize, because we forget. Yes. That's when you're powerful. That's the second aspect. And of course, the third one is really always bringing yourself back and transforming, making you realize to live with your authentic self. And you do that by the third aspect is really by a brain training techniques. Okay. Because with my research, I've also recognized that, as I said, we're programmed with the outside, right? With what we're learned, what we've taught. And by training yourself to think differently, you actually are able to transform yourself, take a hold of your thoughts. And I'll make this short, because overall, our thoughts create our emotions. Mm-hmm. Our emotions create our vibrations. Our vibrations is what we send out to the universe, and that's what boomerangs back to us in our reality. Right. So in short, this is how you master yourself.
Okay. So how long have you been a coach?
I've been doing this for over 5 years professionally now.
Okay. Now, you're formerly a Bay Streeter. Can you tell us a bit about your career on Bay Street and how long you were involved in that life?
Sure. Actually, it started in Montreal. So I would say, I think Universe Street is where I first started. I started working at Wood Gundy, which then became CIBC Wood Gundy. And then I transferred onto, and I started working very young. Right after high school, I took a business course. So I started very, very slow in that business of Wood Gundy as a receptionist and so on when I was like 17, 18. Mm-hmm. And then I worked myself up by taking all my courses. So I was a certified, basically I was licensed representative when options, stocks, mutual funds, bonds, everything, future. Basically I was certified for everything. I was licensed for everything. Okay. And then I also, when I transferred to Toronto in 91. Mm-hmm. And then I transferred into the CIBC discount brokerage when it first started because they needed someone bilingual. Right. And then worked myself up basically. So I became, a branch administrator in charge of a branch and a very, very high yielding a broker at CIBC Wood Gundy. And I did that for over 10 years.
Wow. So how was the transition for you from working in corporate down on Bay Street to entrepreneur and coach? How did you find that transition?
So the transition took a few years in between. It's almost like not really a break, but it was a break from the outside world a little bit, if you could say so, because after 10 years, then I got married, and I did move to the Bahamas with my husband, and I did work there a little bit for offshore banking, actually. So I worked there. So that continued. And then afterwards, it's really when I had my twins. I have great, boy-girl twins, amazing souls. So then when I had my twins, I stopped working. So really that was the transition, right? And then in between, I got separated, moved back, blah, blah, blah. Stuff happened. And I talk about that in my book, actually. I do open up and I talk about my life journey in there. Okay. But then afterwards, really, it's when I relocated back to Toronto after my separation. And I moved back to Toronto. And my kids were a little bit, once they got older, I knew I wanted to do coaching because I always was drawn to helping people, and people were really always drawn to me and asking me questions. So then once they got a little bit older, I tried to do it in between, but I couldn't because, being mom on my own and stuff like that, I didn't have the time. Kids really need you, right, at that stage. So really, as they got a little bit older, I did my course and I said, that's it. And I just went full on.
Okay. So what inspired or led you you led your journey into entrepreneurship and coaching then? I mean, I know the move and everything was part and parcel of that and wanting to help people, but what was the big, huge inspiration behind making that jump from the security of corporate into becoming an entrepreneur?
Really, it's because, I just had a deep knowing. I just had a deep knowing that this is what I wanted to do. But what launched me in that journey really was after my separation of my second marriage.
Okay.
After, I was in Switzerland. We lived in different places. I was in Switzerland at that time, and then I had to come back with 2 little kids. And that's when I really started asking the tough questions, what are we here for? And is that all there is? And what's my purpose? And that's what led me in this journey. And I realized that there's more than what there is. And it was really the shockwave of my second, my separation of my second marriage that led me into this, because I wanted to become the best version of myself. And I was questioning a lot of my life and things that happened that I wanted to happen. And I couldn't realize why they were happening. And it's like I fell down the rabbit hole.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So how do your gifts of being an intuitive and a spiritual healer factor or play into your coaching business? How do you use those tools? Yeah,
I use those tools mostly as a tool. Exactly that. So I use it as a tool to be able to help my clients and people in general that come to me to help guide me as to where I need to help them most.
Okay.
Help me with the energy and what's going on behind what they're not telling me.
Okay. What would you say is the most exciting or inspiring part of your coaching business for you? For me, really, it's when I'm getting those testimonials and those from the clients, right? Like, that's the feeling that I can't even express it. Yeah.
When you get something from a client that says you've altered their life forever, people that perhaps were, going to psychologists, psychiatrists, taking vacation even, that I'm able to help with my 12 session program and help them really transform their lives and themselves. And I mean, I can't even explain. I can't put words to it because the feeling is like, it seems so simple to me. And still to this day, I don't quite understand it. But as my partner says, you don't need to understand it. You just do what you're doing. You know what I mean? I can't quite understand it, but it works.
And to have that kind of impact on another human being is just, there's no feeling like it in the world for sure.
No. And a lot of times I say, my ex actually is my partner, and I tell him, listen, I just want to retire. He's like, you can't retire. Look, you're helping all these people. And it's like, it's true. And that's what really keeps me going when I hear. So anybody that reaches out to me, I don't say no because I know they need to come to me. I don't advertise too much. I don't go out, I don't have, what I mean? I don't do that much. Basically, I allow people to come to me, and I know when they come to me, they're ready for their transformation and their enlightenment.
Yeah. What's the name of your coaching business?
Maria Fudas Transformation. So MFP.
Okay. And how have your personal struggles and experiences, would you say, helped shape the Maria you are today?
Well, they've shaped me because they've made me who I am today. I wouldn't be where I am without all those struggles and experiences. And a lot of people may look at my life. I mean, I've had struggles, and I do talk about in my book about a lot of them. So I won't, talk about them excessively here. Basically, they make me who I am. And a lot of people may look at, certain things that have happened to me and say, oh my God, look at her. And not only that, a lot of people may take, to divorces or certain things that in my life and may say, oh my God, what's happening to me and why is this happening to me? Blah, blah, blah. But I choose to look at it as gifts, as lessons. And really, I wouldn't be coaching people now and being this, having this proven methodology to be able to help others if I didn't have these experiences and struggles. So everything happened to bring me exactly where I am right now. So I'm grateful.
I read that you've authored and published a book, and you've mentioned it a couple times. Can you tell us a bit about the book, what it's called, when it was released, and what it's all about?
Yes, actually, it was released like a year ago now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's so funny. But with the pandemic and stuff, I haven't been able to launch it or anything.
Right.
Just for the pandemic that it kind of came out. But anyways, it is called Connect with Yourself and Others.
Okay.
And it is a self-help book. Mm-hmm. And it's really a general book. It's open to different concepts that helps someone launch a process to awareness and transformation, which is what we need.
Yeah.
And it helps them, with any self-limiting beliefs that may be causing suffering and other kind of limitations in their lives. And also just to note that the name Connect is not just the name of the title Like I connect is, it's connect with yourself and others. But the word connect is what really came to me. And it's really an acronym. It's really a philosophy and a way of being. And I took that and I took the word connect, and it's really about 7 principles that help someone connect with themselves. And also once you connect with yourself, it empowers you to connect with others in an authentic way, which is successful. And so the word connect really stands for 7 things. The C is for communication. So I talk, it's basically all the tools. And in this book, I give, I didn't hold back. I give a lot of my secrets and a lot of my coaching techniques in there. And it's based out of 3 things, basically assertiveness and communication and how to have relationships and spirituality. So the first C stands for communication. And I give great tools how to communicate assertively and to be assertive. The O stands for oneness, to be with one and without ego. The first N stands for to notice a new perspective, which basically means new perspective, and also to be aware. The other N stands for the now, to live in the now moment. And I give tools and different ways to be able to do that, and perceptions to be able to achieve that. And E stands for empowerment. Once you live in spirit, you are and be inspired. You're so powerful. You're empowered. The other C stands for commitment, to collaborate consciously. So it's the 3 C's. And you can make 4 C's altogether with a communication, right? Which is what the whole book is about. And the T stands for transformation. Once you achieve that, you're able to live in awe and enjoy your journey. So really that's what the book is all about. And it's a practical guide.
Awesome. So how was the experience of writing that book for you?
Brad, it wasn't, honestly, it was emotional at times because my book, I do go back and I do talk a lot about my personal experiences. And I open up about my last marriage, which with the father of my children, how it impacted me, and how, it really launched me in a transformational journey. And I talk about different experiences. So it was emotional at times, but it was very inspiring and empowering as well, because once I finished it, it was like, wow, it was really worth it, because now I have something that somebody could pick up at a very low price with like $20 and be able to transform their lives if they're willing to, really, if they're ready for that transformation, to connect with themselves and to see that different viewpoint.
Awesome. So what was the inspiration behind writing it? Like, what made you decide to, what, I'm going to sit down. I got to write my book. I got to write this book. What inspired you to do it?
Yeah, the inspiration really was because I have a lot of clients. A lot of them are single. And that's why, I tweaked it towards relationships, really, because my tools can be used for anything. It could be used for business. I have, men use it, business people use it, and the tools in there are real tools on assertiveness, how to communicate, and real tools. So you could use it for anything, but I tweaked it towards relationships. And my main market, I guess, was women, because in my mind, a lot of the people that come to me, the women that come to me always seem to have struggled with the relationships. And that seemed to be their main concern, main struggle, mine included. So I tweaked it towards relationships and it really came from women and different people coming to me with the same questions over and over again. And I realized there were always the same answers. It was always the same guide that they needed to do. So I wanted to put it somewhere simple where someone could have it as a guide and go back to it for single women. And not only for, I tweaked it towards relationships, I said, and it's not just for single women. It's for, whether you're married, you're with relationships with your children. It's not necessarily just romantic relationships. It's any kind of relationship with your spouse, with your children, with your coworker. It's really with anything. And it's really then making people recognize. And I took that as the concept, but really to bring people back within, to make them recognize it all starts with self.
Yeah, for sure. Everything starts with self. The whole all of it is self is the foundation for all of it.
Exactly. And that's why connect with yourself, right? So that's why I tweaked it, where at the end they realize, well, I'm the key component to all these relationships. What am I doing wrong? Yeah.
If you could go back, would you change anything about how you did things?
No, actually, because everything that I did was really, everything that I did brought me to where I am now, right? So no, I wouldn't change anything.
Okay. What do you think your unique skill set or superpower is that's helped you become successful?
You know what? A client of mine told me this, and it actually, and then I realized, yeah, you know what? That probably is my superpower. It's taking something difficult and basically simplifying it, making it easy, because things are easier than we think. And everything, something that appears difficult, any situation with a person or in our lives that appears difficult, I'm able to break it down for someone and make it simple and simplify it so that they're able to conquer it.
Okay. What was a turning point in your life, and how did that affect you?
Again, the turning point was what I talked about a little bit before, and that was my the end of my second marriage, when I realized, when it kind of ended, not realized, it did end, and that's what, yeah, I mean, it happened. That's what really was like a shockwave, you know. It kind of like it was the turning point where I realized, like I said, go back within myself and see, to become the best version of myself, see what I'm doing wrong, and also to go back and see, why are things happening the way they're happening? And to realize that, you know, I really am controlling my own destiny somehow. And, you know, all my research brought me towards the realization of that.
Okay. What do you think is something that people seem to misunderstand about you?
People think I'm very strong, and I am very strong. But I do also, again, I am very strong. No, you know, and I definitely am. I'm a very strong person. But I also am sensitive, and I do have insecurities that I battle with. And I do, you know, because I have my tools, I use my own tools on myself. And that's why I did become a coach. So I deal with my own insecurities each day, and I'm a work in progress as well.
Well, we all are. I mean, I
Exactly.
think that it never stops. All our lives we're a work in progress. You never get to the destination. It's always about the journey, right?
Exactly. And if you go to the destination, that means you're dead, right? So, so exactly.
What makes you feel inspired or like your best self?
Helping others, actually, and knowing that I'm in part of this, you know, part of the source, part of this universe. I'm not just like a part of it. I am the you know, the universe. I am this powerful. And this is really what it is. It's making me realize that, and knowing that, even though when I do have my insecurities, then I'm able to battle them, recognize them, just getting, you know, inspiration from my source in order to recognize, hey, you know, Maria, like, you know, you're acting so small at this moment.
Right. How do you define success? What does that word mean to you?
Really, it's looking back and knowing that you did the best that you can, and you've given your best self. Really. And it's really being able, once you're able to live with love and peace from the inside out, most of the time anyways, it doesn't mean, you know, you're going to achieve that all the time. But once you're able to do that most of the time, and you're able to be happy and learn from your lessons, then I think you've achieved that. If you're happy and you're living with love and peace from the inside out, then you've achieved that. Mastering yourself, really.
Yeah. What would you say is one of the most important things you've learned in your life? And what was your life like before learning it? And what was your life like after learning it?
Okay, so the things I've learned from my life would be that everything is just a lesson. Everything is just a lesson. Trust the intuition, the guidance that you get from within, and go with that. You know, don't hesitate. Don't think that when you're getting those gut instincts, that intuition, trust it basically. And what my life, what was my life before learning it? Basically, I was more looking outwards for that love and peace, not recognizing
validation, right?
Validation, exactly. And validation, and also looking maybe in items or people to give me that within myself, right?
Right.
As for I realized that, and what I learned afterwards is love and peace comes from the inside, right?
That's right. Again, it goes back to that foundation of self and starting within and doing the work within first.
Yeah. And, you know, once you have that love for yourself, self-love, an unconditional way, then you're able to give it out. And, you know, it doesn't matter. You know your worth at that point, right? You know your worth. So you don't allow the outside perceptions or outside what other people are projecting onto you to affect you in any way.
What do you think is the most common reason for people failing or giving up?
You know what? I think there's a couple of things that came to mind for this. One is recognizing, you know, there is no failures, right?
Yeah.
And it's because they're acting out of their subconscious. not people don't realize, and that's what my program helps, and I talk about that in my book as well. Really, our subconscious rules like 90, and this is studies that I've done. People could Google this, they can look it up. Studies have been done that 90% of how we act and react comes out of our subconscious, which means from how we were programmed, what we were taught, what happened to us in an earlier life. Our outside circumstances, media, politics, religion,
there's so many external sources, right?
Exactly. And we act and react from that subconscious. And Brad, 90% of that. So recognize that only 10% is really our conscious mind. So that's why it's so important, and why, I love teaching people to be able to tap into that 10% in order to consciously overrule that 90%. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I have my insecurities, but because I have my tools, I'm able, as soon as I get the insecurity, instantly with my brain training techniques and my tools, I'm able to go into that subconscious and change it and recognize and it's really just bringing out the truth at that point, right? Bringing out the truth
sure.
That there isn't a fear, and it's fear, right? And fear is what the subconscious rules, what the ego is all about. It is fear. And, and a lot of times, subconscious people don't realize it's not, a lot of times it's fear of success itself that people fear. It's not fear of failure, right?
Yeah, very
subconsciously.
true.
Subconsciously, that's what they fear. And, once they come to that point, they realize that.
Mm-hmm. What would you say is one of your favorite quotes?
You know what? Hands down would be Socrates, and of course he's a fellow Greek, so I love that. And of course, as that Greek wedding said, everything comes from Greeks, right? I'll go with that.
Yeah.
So the quote was, "Wisdom begins in wonder." So basically, what Socrates and Plato were saying, that wonder is the beginning of wisdom. You need to ask those questions within yourself. And I came up with a word that I use in my program and also my book. I call it mesasize. And that too is derived from a Greek's words. Mesa means inside, inside. So, exercise we know deals with the outside body, right? Exercising your bodies. And exo means outside in Greek. So mesa means inside. So it's really mesasizing, working your inside. Your brain is one of the most powerful muscles we have, and most people don't exercise it at all, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's concerned about the external. But once you learn to mesasize and you do that and you work your mind and you connect with your authentic self, that's where wisdom begins. That's when you become almighty and powerful. So basically, the answers are always in the questions.
Interesting.
And that's where wisdom,
And
if you want, I could give you a quick tool. So basically, what people have to do is pause, breathe, and reflect. So pause. So pause anytime you're not sure. Take a deep breath. Bring yourself back, into yourself, and then wonder, reflect. Go into that wisdom zone, which is, like a treasure chest, which is your intuition.
Absolutely. What does the word empowerment mean to you?
Empowerment, the word itself means I am power, right? Empowerment. Mm-hmm. So that's what it means to me. But, it goes a little bit deeper for me, because I recognize that once you live in spirit, once you're inspired, and that's what the word inspired means. Once you're inspired and you're an inspiration to others, that's when you're empowered, right? And that's where also you become enlightened. Once you allow the light to come in and you live in spirit, you are empowered. You are powerful beyond measure, more than people actually recognize or even know, perhaps.
How would you describe yourself in one word?
How would I describe myself in one word? Oh my God. Love, I think.
Beautiful.
Love.
I love that. That's beautiful.
Yeah, because that's who we are internally.
Yeah. What is your personal motto?
Basically, do no harm. So if you can't help others, at least don't hurt them.
Okay. What would you say is one of your biggest failures, and what did you learn from it?
Okay. Well, I learned that there are no failures, basically.
Okay.
That was the biggest thing I had to learn, is that there are no failures. Everything is just a lesson and a way to bring us forth, to make us better. But also I learned not to have any fear and conformity. And the biggest failure is conformity and fear.
Okay. What gives you the motivation to keep going?
Really, it's the testimonials, like I told you earlier, hearing from people the impact that I have in their lives and in their, just in general, in their psychology.
Okay. If you were stranded on a desert island and could only have one item, what would you take with you?
One item. Why? Okay, that makes it a little difficult. And you said item, right? Because I would say my dog otherwise, which is Hercules. He's one of the best little companions. But item, I would say, you know what? I would say a potato, probably, because I could have both French fries and chips. So, yes.
How are you going to make French fries, though? You don't have anything else.
Oh, my goodness. That doesn't work. Okay. Okay, how about coffee, then? Morning coffee would be good.
Sure, there you go.
That's true. Didn't think of that. Okay.
Money or fame?
That's a tough one because I really don't care for any. But if I were to choose, I would probably say fame. And the reason for that is because I would want the voice, the voice to be able to be impactful to other people's lives, and the voice to voice to the others the truth of who and what we are in order to be able to empower others. Because once you're empowered and you recognize your power, money will come. So money is not an issue.
All right. There we go. That's a good one. I like that. Yeah. Early bird or night owl?
Oh my God, Brad, none.
You're a midday type of person.
I'm in my zone right now. So, yeah.
If you came with a warning label, what would yours say?
Cannot be fooled, because feels energy before you speak. Okay. Yeah, I feel people's energy before I feel who they are. Just by feeling the energy and by, so basically, yeah, I may act, like I don't know what's going on, but I know more than I
let on.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you had a theme song that played every time you walked into a room, what song would that be?
Of course, Happy by Pharrell, right?
Yeah.
I'm happy and I know it. And I'm going to have that song in my head for the rest of the day. But of course, that's a fantastic song.
Well, it's a great song to have stuck in your head, for sure.
I love it, right? Exactly. Yeah. So it's perfect. Above the roof. That's what's came to my head right now. Yeah. But another song really that's a little bit more spiritual that I'd like to listen to when I'm, like kind of sitting back would be Into the Mystic by Van Morrison. Have you heard that song?
No, I haven't.
Actually, listen to it. And if you listen to the words, it really talks about our existence. It really talks about how we come from beyond the sun and how we go back into the mystic. So I just find that's a great, the lyrics are amazing in that and the beat. So I love that song. But definitely if I come in a room, Happy would be the song. Yeah.
Okay. But I will check out the Van Morrison song for sure. Yeah.
It's from the Moon Dance album.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who in your life has had the biggest impact on you and why?
You know what? I've had a lot of impactful people, my father being one included, but I would have to probably choose my mom. My mom struggled a lot. She came from a very tough life, and she was born before her time because she had wisdom and elegance before her time, even, being born in the era and in a village and all that stuff. And she taught me and keeps teaching me. Now she's like 92.
Okay.
And she never ceases to amaze me. She keeps teaching me how to be kind, how to be soft, but also to be strong at the same time. And she was a mother of 7 without running water or electricity. So, yeah. So I would say she's an essence of everything. Like, yeah.
An incredible woman.
An incredible woman, yeah, of what life is, right?
Yeah.
What you could overcome.
Yeah, for sure. If you could sit down and have a 1-hour conversation with anyone in the world, alive or dead, who would it be and why?
The first person that comes to mind is Jesus. So don't laugh, okay, Brad?
No.
And I would say Jesus because a lot of what I teach is Jesus's teachings, and that's really a big part of my program and my teachings. And his teachings, and take the religious part out of it, okay? I'm not, I'm Greek Orthodox, obviously, and I'm Christian, but I'm not very religious. But okay. I teach Jesus' teachings because if you go closely and you listen to Jesus' teachings without the religion and the fear that comes into it, it's amazing. He basically was telling us everything that I struggled to learn through my process about even the law of attraction. He talks about there. He talks about our power. He talks about kindness, about how what we give, we get back. It's amazing. If you go back and listen and just take out what he taught and his actions, it's amazing. So that's an amazing person that I would love to be able to sit down and to also discuss and to ask him, what the Bible says and if his intentions, what I perceive them to be, without the fear. So he would be a fascinating and, amazing, enlightened person to be able to sit down and talk to.
Very cool. What is one of your favorite entrepreneurial books?
So you're going to laugh when I tell you this book, but I would say The Alchemist by Pablo Coelho.
Oh, okay.
And that's, you probably think about that book and you're thinking, well, that's more like a novel.
Yeah.
But you know what? The Alchemist teaches you that you really can transform anything. We are powerful beyond measure. And that was one of the books that I first read also in my journey that kind of like made me think, along with all the different religions that I tapped into and the spirituality, made me realize, the way, obviously, the way he talks about it, it just makes you realize that we are able to transform things if we believe it, if we really, what we focus on, we create basically.
Yeah, our minds are incredibly powerful things, and we don't even tap into a tenth of the power we have within ourselves, right?
And I found this is a book that could kind of bring you a kind of just a beginning, kind of maybe a catalyst to make you think a little differently, get out of the box,
sure.
and what we're used to. Just
and
that's what entrepreneurship is about. It's about recognizing how powerful you are.
Yeah. Lastly, if you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
Brad, it would be to not take life so seriously. Everything has a way of working itself out. And really God, or the universe, the source, whatever you want to call it, really has our back. I've gone back now, now that I'm, a little bit older, not much, I've realized that looking back now, things that I stressed about and struggled and worried about, everything had a way of working itself out. And working itself out to the best, to my best, like not always the way I wanted it, but the way I needed it. And recognize that really God, or, people use the word universe now, they don't feel comfortable with God. I mean, it's all the same, at the end of the day. But really, God has a way of making gives you the things that you need and that are good for you, not necessarily what you always want or think you want.
Right.
So be open to the journey, live in awe and enjoy the journey, because that's what it's all about, enjoying the journey and allow things to happen, unfold naturally.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you're right. We take life far too seriously and we're only here for a short time. So enjoy it all, take it all in, slow down and smell the roses. And I think that with this pandemic, I would hope that a lot of people, or most people, have learned that you have to slow down. I mean, things are moving way too fast these days. Before the pandemic hit, enjoy the small things, enjoy time with your family, enjoy time with your friends. There's so many things, so many little things in life that when we're so caught up and so busy in our own worlds and our own lives that we just don't even pay attention to.
That's right. And also I would add to that, Brad, a couple more things like enjoy, recognize people, appreciate people that are around us, right? Because we take a lot of people for granted, the essential people that we look down to normally. A lot of people might look down to. We might think, they're not, there's some people that look down on people that might not be educated, that not be successful in their eyes materialistically. Right. So it's really recognizing what is important in life. It's not the movie stars and the players and we don't really, they're great, they're entertainment. We don't really need them. No. What we need are the basics, right? And
I think life is about experiences, not materialistic things, not putting people on pedestals. Life is about experiences. So experience as much as you possibly can in life and enjoy it.
Yeah. And it's the memories, right? It's going back to memories. Absolutely. And, to me, myself, because obviously like most people, I like nice things. Yeah. And it's making me also look, now you can't wear anything. How many shoes can you put on? Besides running shoes at this point?
Well, you can only wear two at one pair of shoes at a time.
Yeah.
So.
And all we're wearing now is slippers in the house, right?
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
So it kind of brings you back also to become less materialistic and to kind of recognize what's important. And like you said, slow down and really appreciate what's important and connect with yourself, right? This is the opportunity for people to be able to connect with themselves and recognize that we are able to live with love and peace from the inside out, because that's the essence of who we truly are.
But see, that's part of the problem, though, is that some people don't like being alone with themselves. They don't look within themselves. They don't want to do the work. They don't want to look inside because they don't like what's looking back at them in the mirror too. So that's where the whole self-work needs to be done and all that hard work.
Definitely. And I would, to every single person that's in that zone, I would say, pick up my book today, because it's a small start. It's only like, in Canadian, it's $24.99. And you know what? You could get it on Amazon, on my website, but also you could just pick it up as an ebook. Ebook, it's like $7.99. You could pick it up on Apple Books even and start the process of and going internally and see the power it has. And I urge every single person to just go ahead and get it, even whether it's an ebook or pull out the free. They give you 40 free pages, I think.
Right.
Just start the journey. The pandemic is the time to do it. At least start the journey of recognizing, just even getting an idea of what we're talking about, because some people might not even be aware of what we are talking about. Yeah. And that's why I created that book too, was to simplify it for people that are not very spiritual, that are not very enlightened, or they're in that zone. I wrote it specifically for those people that slowly need to get there. And I talk about relationships, but I end by internalizing. So it's a great book for people that know nothing about spirituality, don't know anything about what we're talking about self-mastery. It's a great starter point.
Awesome. Well, Maria, thank you so much for taking the time to be here today and share a bit about your story and your journey and where you are today. I completely enjoyed our conversation. It was absolutely amazing. I'm so appreciative for you being part of the community and just being here today and sharing your journey with us today.
Thank you so much, Brad. Thanks for inviting me. And you know what? It's been a pleasure. And thanks again.
Once again, my name is Brad Welsh, host of your Empowerography Podcast. Today, my guest has been Maria Fudas. She is a certified Assertiveness and Transformational coach based in Richmond Hill, Ontario. Thank you, Maria. I hope you have an awesome day.
Thanks. You too, Brad.
Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at visuphoria.ca and follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.